No, it's just going to be like, all right, I'll trade you the missing piece of the bed for all of my dress socks.
So that's the fair exchange.
Socks. Who has worn dress socks in the last year? I haven't.
We have. And with that, welcome to the Video Reformation Podcast.
Oh yeah, there's the music.
I'm Ben Oliver.
I'm Justin Plant.
We're the co-founders of Storyboard Media and your guides to practicing effective video for business. We're like the Hamish Abernathy to your Katniss Everdeen in the Hunger Games.
Nice.
May the odds be ever in your favor. And like, whatever. I don't know. Something like that.
What was it? 3?
I don't know.
Those Boy Scouts.
I don't know. Someone's going to correct us.
I think it.
Yeah. So today we're going to talk about in-house video teams, which we've done before. We've just always done it from the perspective of an out-of-house team, and we're lucky to be joined by someone who actually is or runs
Currently employed
as an in-house team. We're thrilled to be joined today by, I've already forgotten, Panera, Jim Kozyra.
It's also would have accepted Jim St. Louis Bread Company.
Yes, Jim Panera Kozyra. We are happy to have you on with us today. Now, you and I met a couple weeks ago on Vidyard's Fast Forward virtual event. We were on is 2 people big enough for a panel?
Yeah.
We had a moderator. Tyler was our moderator. We were talking about, make this with that. We were talking about the different levels of production and the types of things you need to get going and the types of things you don't necessarily need to get going. So check that out. I'm sure we'll throw some kind of custom link right here on the bottom of the screen for people to go watch that. So before we jump into the topic of in-house video, I don't even know if I got to that. The topic today is in-house video. Before we jump into our conversation with Jim today, which we can already tell is going to be super efficient and productive, we have a new sponsor for this episode. Is that right? Oh yeah, we
do. Yep. It's art. Don't peek. Don't peek.
Oh, I thought it was called Don't Peek. Okay.
No, it's A.R.S.E. It's an acronym, Association of Regrettable Silly Eponyms.
Okay.
What's an eponym?
It's usually a
I know,
place.
but I'm worried about the people at home.
Oh yeah, good point. It's a place or a thing named after a person. How many mugs are you working with over there?
Yeah, I have. Well, so this is my Keurig mug. It says Yoda Best Dad because I like puns. And then I ran out of coffee, and now this is my Ember mug because
it stays warm.
I'm in the 1%. And it warms your coffee. So I made a Keurig. My wife took our daughter to preschool and came back with a Dunkin'. I'm drinking a lot of coffee today, you guys.
Yeah.
Because I want to stay real alert for this podcast.
You're force feeding the 1.5x playback speed on this podcast episode. People are gonna have to slow it down to like 0.75.
Shall you play it faster? It'll be inaudible.
So A.R.S.E.
Yep.
Yes. So we'll hear from A.R.S.E. later on in the episode. Really looking forward to that. Jim, you've got a really interesting background. So for those of our viewers and listeners who don't know who you are, why don't you tell us a little bit about how you got to where you are today?
Yeah. Where am I today, Ben? That's the question. Where's anyone?
That's an episode into itself.
So the short version, which is still going to be too long and probably self-indulgent, is I started off. Well, I am an actor, and writer, and I only became an actor, or I only became a writer, so I would have something to say. And then about 15 years ago, I bought. I had a summer job because I was still like a 22-year-old man. This is going great, by the way.
Yeah, no, this is best we've ever had.
Let me tell you a tale about a time when I was 24 and worked a job. Anyway, but I bought a camera and bought a Mac and was like, I'm going to film myself saying these dumb things and learn how to edit.
A one-man show.
Basically, or hey, I've got some friends, just come over, let's just shoot this thing, and made all of the mistakes. Just like didn't go to film school, didn't take a class. In high school I had a video production class where I learned about the nonlinear editing software.
Yeah, why did they? Yeah.
It was like the year 2000 or 2001, and our school got a grant, so we got 4 think they were Avid machines, but it's like you put in the VHS tape and like it would upload to a hard drive, and the hard drive held like 50 hours of tape. And then that was when I like learned, I was like, oh, this is really cool. This is fun. So I'm an actor who bought cameras and equipment to learn how to edit, and then accidentally sort of kept editing and found some freelance work as an editor, and then the editing turned into a career that I kind of fell backwards into. So I kind of approach it all from 3 different lenses at the same time. I try to think about like it is actually it's I will say this to be completely honest. Like I for the longest time felt that it was a hindrance in job interviews where it's like, well, I haven't done one thing. I haven't done one thing for a long enough time to be, you know what I'm saying? It was like, well, we need 5 years experience. And it's like, eventually, recently, in the last couple of years, when I got this job, I started to lean into it instead of leaning away from it. I used to say, like, well, don't worry about my acting because you don't care about my acting, or don't worry about my writing because you don't care about my writing. But here's like 4 things I edited, and you should be impressed because I edited 4 things. But as you get to this level and you start doing it long enough, it's like, no, hold on, quick time out. This thing that I've been trying to avoid or hide is actually a differentiator. This is why you should hire me, because I think about story I think about the script, and the script gets sculpted in the edit, and the edit isn't done or the edit is the last rewrite, and you know what I'm saying? Like, and the performance is all, it's all kind of like
iterative
this,
and
DVD menu of synergy.
Synergy, there we go.
God, I love when people use synergy as just like in a skateboard.
Like synergy, business differentiator.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about your role at TBI?
Yeah, so they were doing freelance video. So TBI is a high level. It's a telecom brokerage firm. They help connect small and medium businesses to internet solutions. And when I first got the job, I was like, "You mean like Comcast? Like just going to the internet and like signing up for phones?" And as it turns out, it's way higher level stuff than that. I was like, I don't understand why we exist. But like the Domino's pizza tracker, for example, or Uber.
You guys do that?
We don't, but like the people who facilitate, like that's our space, right? The people who facilitate, like, oh, we're a business and we have a problem, and the problem needs to be solved using the internet and the cloud and like various levels of communication platform services. And sometimes they are pre-existing little boxes that you can apply to your business, and sometimes they're things like Uber, where it's like, we need to invent a platform where I can take the signal from this and send it to here and track a thing. So it's all that kind of stuff. So it's like, yeah, it's interesting, super confusing. I don't understand most of it, but I don't need to. I just need to make the videos look good, where the people who do understand it explain it better than me. So they were doing freelance videos for about a year, just kind of dipping their toe into the video space. And I will say our company's marketing department is the differentiator in this space. There's probably like 4 or 5 industry leading brokerages. The companies that do this are called master agents. There's like 4 or 5. We're in the top group, but our marketing department is what separates us. We're trying really hard to create marketing material for our providers, marketing material for our vendors. Like we're just trying to spew out this fountain of, our marketing department is like 11 people, and most people it's 2, So they started getting onto the video train, and they hired a freelancer for a while, and then they were like, we need to do this full time. We need to bring on a video person. So when I got hired, it was essentially it was like freedom paralysis, if that makes sense. It's like there's no equipment. There's a big open room, and that's your studio, and there's nothing in there. And here's a budget and 3 weeks, and like, how would you fill it?
Here's an Amazon gift card, and fill that room.
Well, more like here's the company card, and it's cooking. I'm like, ooh.
What's your limit on that, by the way?
They made a sufficient investment. That's the classy way of saying it. They invested in the program and did it appropriately. Like we're shooting on DSLRs. I'm not shooting on like Reds. Like I didn't go buy, you know, a $50,000 camera, but
why not?
Yeah. Well, I think that'd be interesting. Tell us about how you set up your company to have that in-house team. I know the in-house team is pretty much you, right?
Just from a video perspective, it's me. There's two graphic designers who really helped me a lot with graphics, and one of them is pretty good at motion. I hate motion graphics. It's not that I hate it. I'm not good at it.
So yeah, how did you go about setting up your studio? What, you know, talk about the equipment, space.
So it's my goal was basically efficiency, right? Like full disclosure, we spent probably about $40,000 all told when I take into account everything. I'm talking lights. I'm talking microphones, cameras, you know, grip gear, and that was over the course of maybe a year. And at the beginning, the investment was about half that. And so anybody who's gone onto BH Photo is like, well, you could spend, if I gave you $20,000, you could buy a $20,000 camera and lens, and it would look awesome.
No lens, no tripod.
You could do that too.
Just the camera, the body.
Yeah.
And the glass is gorgeous, and the image is gorgeous, but nobody will hear it because there's nothing to record the sound with. And you know, we talked. Ben referenced the Vidyard. You know, fast forward, I was working on a shoot where I pulled out my iPhone and recorded alongside with the Blackmagic, which is the camera you guys are using in your studio, and using a professionally lit. You know what I mean? Like the lighting is great, the sound is pristine through a lapel mic, and it's like the Blackmagic looks better, but it doesn't necessarily look mind-blowingly better than what you could record on an iPhone with the right lighting and audio and all that stuff set up. So I was really trying to be conscious of two things. One, not just going ham and like buying a camera and being like, guys, I got look at this is awesome, and then having nothing else. So trying to allocate money towards quality audio, quality lights, quality picture, and then also trying to be as efficient as I can with the space. The studio space is about the size of my master bedroom. Like it's not huge. It's huge considering that we are the only company master agent that has an in-house video studio. Like, so that's great, but it's not. It's modest, right? That's so. Making sure that one wall is painted chroma key green and another wall has a whiteboard, and that the lights are ceiling mounted. Like that was a big cost. It was like, I want the track. I want the like the Manfrotto, the grid. Yeah. Where it's like, I could just like slide lights and turn them a little bit. And at any given time, I can tell Alexa, everything's also Alexa controlled, that's just
no way.
me being awesome. Iron Man. I was like, Alexa, let's film. And then it's like, because let's be honest, if you're going to spend a lot of money and somebody who doesn't know anything about video walks in, you need to be able to like impress them and be like, just watch this. Alexa, turn off the lights. And they're like, wow.
Alexa, boudoir session.
That's right. And everything gets nice and red, and
the music comes up. Yeah.
So it was about efficiency, really. It was trying to say, how can we make one space do the most things? How can we accomplish the most shoots? And yeah, when you talk about big numbers like $20,000, $40,000, that's a lot. That's a lot of money. But what would it cost to professionally film what we're going to do? What would it cost to outsource these projects? And when does that money? When do you basically come out ahead? And honestly, like, I think within the first year, we're there. I think like, we filmed like 100 assets, and it's like, if you were to have hired this out, it would have cost you more. And now, bonus, we're in year 2, and you've already paid for it all, and it all still works. And now we're just cranking it out, more and more and more. So yeah, it was a focus on efficiency and trying to make sure that you spend money, the right amount of money in the right places.
How did you allocate that? I think, tactically, I think our listeners who are in the position of hiring somebody like you, I'm curious, how did you allocate that? So you knew you needed lights, cameras, all this stuff. So
yeah, this was like, so I'm ADHD before it was cool. And I have that like hyper focus HD where like my wife, who I love her and she cares about me, my wife will like open the door and be like, hey, go to the bathroom and eat a sandwich. And I'll be like, what are you talking about? Oh, it's been 7 hours. Why do you have to pee?
I do the same thing. That's why I don't edit anymore. Because it'll be, I'll sit down at 9 and it'll be 4 o'clock in the afternoon and I'll be like, why do I have a headache? Because I haven't gotten up. I haven't gone to the bathroom. I haven't eaten it. Yes. Yep.
Does she usually make you eat your sandwiches in the bathroom?
Yeah, she's like, listen, I want you to have a break, but let's also time is money. Let's get back to work.
Did they say, here's $40,000, go build a studio? Or did they say, work up a budget and, figure out what you need?
So my first task was to create a budget. But I knew that was about the number. I was like, what are we talking about? Because if you like, and we talked about this a little bit again on that session. Like, if you had $5,000 right now to start a video project, we could do that. If your company has $5,000 and you want to go in house, great. Here's a $200 light kit. Here's a $2,500 camera and lens. Like, here's some microphone. Like, you can absolutely do that. If I gave you $100,000, guess what? We could do the same thing, and now we can go shoot Avengers. And so it was. I knew my ballpark, and then it was hard. There was a pressure to not forget, right? There was a pressure to not be like, oh, I spent all the money and I forgot about once, or and I did. The first thing I did was take like $2,000 of that budget, and I was like, this is just for doodads I forgot, because I'm going to forget, and. It's really funny out there. They're doing their own podcast in my house.
That's okay. What we'll do is we'll take that background noise, we'll enhance it, and we'll just throw a laugh track on the whole episode.
Yeah, that'd be great. It's just anytime we tell a joke, fire that up. The first thing I did was allocate money for like all of those. Like, this is an adapter. This is a doodad. This I'm going to need this. I'm going to forget this. And I'm also, there's no shot I'm going to itemize this stuff. Like, here's the cameras I want. Here's the lights I want. But first and foremost, I need about $2,000 over the next year to say, oh, I forgot a battery. Oh, I need this.
Bongo ties, STI cables.
Yeah,
I don't even want to have to explain to somebody in finance how, like, I need this cable to make this machine talk to this machine for when I use it in this way. Just
You're familiar with the origin of C47s, right? Ben, you tell us better because you're the one who told me.
I don't even remember it. I if I'm recalling correctly, and Holt, maybe you know this too, but so C47s are basically the clothespins, right?
It's an industry term for clothespin.
So it's the industry term for clothespins if you just want to, like, clip a gel to a light, or something like that, right? But C47s, we got to have a couple over there. But they started calling them C47s so that the accounting department, who didn't know any of those technical terms, wouldn't question what it was, and it sounded more technical. So they would just approve however much for C47 instead of clothespins, because they'd be like, why do you need clothespins?
And it started like...
And it just kind of stuck.
But I would say I was given freedom to pretty much allocate the budget how I wanted to, and it just was kind of trial and error. I had a Microsoft Excel spreadsheet, and I was like, here's what I need. I need 3 cameras, and I need cameras to do different things. What's that?
What cameras did you buy?
So I bought 2 of the Blackmagic 4K, Pocket 4K, and then I bought a GH5S, which I was never a Panasonic person. I was always a Canon person, but I love it. I will say, like, to this day, the GH5 is a little workhorse.
But that's a Micro Four Thirds, isn't it?
They're both micro. So here's the thing. So here's what I was thinking was, like, so if I'm going to buy these Blackmagic, at the time of the Blackmagic, the 6K had not come out yet. So, like, the Blackmagic Pocket 4K, which was the Micro Four Thirds, and everyone was just nuts for this camera, and it's beautiful, and I love them. I still use them. But so then it's like, it's that level of thinking where it's like, okay, if I'm going to buy this camera, then I also have to buy lenses, and if I'm buying lenses for the Micro Four Thirds, then I want a Micro Four Thirds DSLR that I can use. It has autofocus for when I'm doing stuff at live events, so I'm not. And so it's like, it's this game of how many, even within the camera section, right? So it's like, I'm trying to be efficient. How modular can I be? How can I make sure that I buy $1,000 lens, that fits on the Blackmagic and fits on my DSLR and does what I want it to do when I want it to do it.
And does the support work for each of those cameras independently? Can you swap,
Yeah, so I can. So that was part of that goal. It was like the Blackmagics I use in the studio when you're going to be sitting in a chair and I don't need to worry about tracking focus. You know what I mean? Like, and then that gives me a 3-camera setup, and then the GH5 I pretty much used in the field whenever we would go to have a live event or even something in the office where it's like, hey, it's someone's birthday, come film it. It's like, okay, and by doing that, it was kind of like. Anybody who's listening who's a camera nerd knows that like the perfect camera doesn't exist, and despite you if you're talking about a camera that is small and efficient and shoots the best quality video and the best quality photo, it's like there's at some point there's a compromise, right? You have something doesn't do like, well, you can get this, the Canon autofocus or the Sony autofocus, but then you lose out, and if you find the camera, which might be this new Sony A1, then the last thing is that it costs $7,000.
Right.
So,
and in 3 months, something else will come out. Yeah. Yeah.
I think we talked about this too, that like it is the Wild West as far as like camera, like when we were coming up, back when we were young scraps. Being very familiar.
When we were hand cranking cameras and the
5D Mark II came out and like revolutionized video.
Yeah.
And that was the camera for like 5 years.
Mm-hmm. Well, then its dorky little cousin, the T3i, was like really easy to get accessible. That Mark, it was like $400 or something.
You currently do freelance work. You kind of started with freelance work, but now that you're an in-house video producer, you essentially have one client, as opposed to if you're a freelancer, you've got multiple clients that you're juggling, whatever. What are the benefits of essentially being the video person with just that one client to focus on, or drawbacks?
One of the benefits, I guess, is that you're in this. It's more of a relationship, as opposed to you're in it. It's a marathon, not a sprint, right? A lot of times you do freelance work, and it's like, here's my one. There's a $5,000 one-off job that it's going to take a week, and I'm going to get notes, and maybe your notes are real annoying, and maybe you're real unorganized, and it's like, okay, well, that was fun, and we'll never talk again. To have the same client, sometimes it's not even about this job when you're talking about this job. It's like, here's this video that we're working on today, but we also need to be mindful about how this relates to the next message and how this relates to the event we're throwing in 3 months. And so it's a lot more of a slow burn. And I mean that it's a good. I'm talking about it as a positive, right? Like you're conversing with your team. It's not just always business, right? Like you're getting to know these people. You're right. Getting familiar, and these people are getting to know you. I think that's the other thing too. Like a lot of times, I'm sure you guys feel this. Like you get hired, and it almost feels like there's immediate skepticism. It's like, okay, well, I'm giving you money, and you're going to make video, and it better be good. I think kind of having the opportunity to prove that you do know what C47s are, having the opportunity to prove that like you know what you're talking about, right? Like trust me, watch me do a bunch of things that you don't fully understand yet, and just trust me. And then when you see the edit, it's like, oh, that's why you recorded everybody saying one word at a time, because you cut it together. Oh, wow, that's really cool. So like gaining the trust of your one client, and then being able to exploit that trust? No, like being able to just take more risks. Leverage? I don't know. Yeah, leverage. I mean, leverage is a good word, right? Like, hey, I can get a little weirder now. I can get a little more experimental now, because it's and a lot of times the weirder experimental stuff ends up paying off, because you're taking a little bit of a risk.
Yeah.
Yes. And I'm not putting all of my eggs in one basket that like, well, I'm here, I'm employed to do one video, and I'm going to make it kind of a little weird. And it's like, no, I mean,
I wanted to ask about that. You had mentioned kind of anecdotally, hey, pick up your camera, it's someone's birthday, go film it kind of thing. How much of your job is built off of a year-long strategy, let's say, and then how much of it is, hey, someone's dog came into the office today, it's got a funny hat?
I would say, maybe like a 75% of my job was is strategy. Like, here's a video that's pushing this message that's supporting this initiative. And then the other 25% was like, hey, it's Employee Appreciation Day, or this person's been here for 10 years. We should interview them and do a little spotlight on them, or just kind of like the fun nothings, right?
Cultural content.
Yeah, and again, like having an in-house team or an in-house person, that's a thing you can do, because now you don't have to ask, like, is Mike, who's been here for 15 years, is he worth like getting a videographer to, like, I mean, we love him, but do we love him that much? But like, now that I'm here, it's like, it's Wednesday, I'll come shoot Mike, and or he'll come into the studio and sit down. All I gotta do is flip on the lights because we built the studio.
You don't have to flip them on.
Sit down, talk, and then here's a fun little thing, and we'll send it to the employees, and it's a good morale boost.
Now, if you could just get Alexa to take those jobs away for you as well, that would be pretty cool. Alexa, film Jim. He's fucking 25 years. All right.
I went down the rabbit hole in like April about how to do like an entirely remote studio where like people could go to the studio and I would never have to leave my house. And it's almost there. It would cost a lot of money, and I couldn't get it approved because I'm like, no, check it out. I'll never have to leave my house again.
So I'm going to do a bunch of renovations.
Right. If you just approve like $100,000 worth of equipment and an internet, a VPN line right into my house, the benefit would be I would never have to leave. Don't you want that?
So, who's building that strategy? Is that something you're participating in? And what's that process look like?
Yeah. I've said, this is a repackage of something Ben said, but the way I've always said it is that video is a tool, not a strategy. Somebody else said that and I stole it. But video is a tool, it's not a strategy. A lot of times people are like, what's your marketing strategies? Well, we're pivoting hard to video. It's like, that's not a strategy.
Right.
That's not, it's like saying like, what's your remodeling plan? Well, I have a hammer. Okay, so now what? Like, what do you plan to do with that tool, right? So there's a lot of times where I mean, like I said, we're a marketing department of about 10 people, so we have weekly meetings where we're talking about our goals, and a lot of times it's like the best way to do this is an email. We should just send an email, or the best way to do this is a infographic. Because the answer, when you're a hammer, going back to the analogy, when you're a hammer, every problem looks like a nail. When you're a video guy, it's like, well, we could make a video about that.
Yeah.
Sure, that could be a video. But then when you're the only video guy, you need to be aware of your time and your resources, or the company's time and resources. Like, look, I've said I'm a missile. I go where you point me. So like, I'll do a month's worth of interviewing Mike, who's been here for 15 years. I'll do a month's worth of interviewing Deborah from accounting and her dog. Like, but is that how you want to use me? I don't know if that's the best use. So, but yeah, I'm in those sessions and I'm in those meetings, and then it just comes down to like figuring out the best way to accomplish the message, and then me figuring out the best way to do it, like, so that I scratch that itch, so that I scratch that creative itch, so that like something is more fun than just the same corporate video with the same stock footage music behind it.
How do you divvy up your time? Is there a certain type of video that's been working really well for you, and you're kind of putting like half of your time into product update videos? Or I know you don't have maybe necessarily software product updates necessarily, but
no. But so it's more about like, I think, the audiences. So like, because we are this, for lack of a better term, this middle person, we're a facilitator. Like, we facilitate the big companies like, AT&T and Comcast and Verizon. We facilitate these people meeting up with these IT companies that then go to the end user. So it's like Domino's calls John's IT and is like, we have this problem, and they come to us and they're like, how do we fix this? And we're like, you want this solution from this provider and this solution from this provider. You know what I mean? So it's like, because of that, a lot of the content we make is for the providers, AT&T, Comcast, Verizon. These people make money when we sell their stuff. And so they will very often like sponsor us to make content that's like, here's why you should be thinking about Comcast for this solution. Hey, do you have somebody? Hey, 3,000 IT professionals that work with us, like, do you have somebody in your network of people that needs this very specific phone solution? You should think about this company because they do this well. And we remain as an agnostic provider, meaning that, like, we really do, and this is not just like they take pride in the fact that, like, we try to get the best solution for your customer. So it's not like, well, AT&T is giving us bonuses this year. It's like, no. Sometimes the best solution might be a company you've never heard of because all they do is satellite internet in rural areas, which is what your customer needs, right? Like, you are a small business in Utah that needs this, and it's like, this is the company you want. That you don't want one of the big guys because they're not even, this isn't even a blip on their radar, but these people specialize in this. So, like, they're a very agnostic company, but anyway, so some of the videos we do are like, here's telling you, our selling team, what sort of things are out there, and some of them are for the end user, where it's like, hey, do you have a problem? Like, you should talk to. So the audiences, I think, are different than the, because even within each funnel, there's half a dozen different series and projects we can do, right? Where we're interviewing people from the big companies, or sometimes what we do is we create content that we give to the partners. So it's like, so here's the big companies, here's the IT people who they themselves are looking for jobs from, like, from actual end user businesses. We will give you video content, or we will make video content so you can show this to customers and be like, do you have this problem? Here you go. Call me. I'll fix it. And then they call us and we fix it. You know what I mean? So, I mean, honestly, some of that's allocated for me. It's not even like I'm super deciding what I'm doing and when. A lot of it's like, hey, we sold, 10 sponsorships at this level. And so we need to film 10 interviews at this level so that we can show those to people. Like, okay, great. Or this is our initiative this month, and this is October Cybersecurity Month, so we need a video that pushes cybersecurity. And we made this cybersecurity PDF. We need people to download this PDF. Well, let's attach this PDF to the end of this video and send out this fun video, which is everybody in TBI forgetting their passwords. It's like, let's just do a sketch. We filmed like a sketch comedy sketch, and it was fun, and people shared it. And at the end of that video was a little download here click, and that ebook that we created got more downloads than it would have had without the video. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's video with a purpose. And sometimes the purpose is just to show that we made a video, right? Like, I think that's the hard thing to balance. It's not always a linear watch this, click that. Sometimes it's just watch this so that you get in the habit of watching our stuff, but then every now and then watch this, click that, and then see how that goes. And
I imagine for your bosses, for your marketing leaders, it's a whole lot easier to have you there to do those things as new things come up than even if they had a retainer with a video agency, because you are there and you can be more nimble.
Again, everything is the before times. So I'm talking about pre-COVID stuff, but like the idea that on a number of occasions, hey, this CEO from this company is stopping by today. Can we sit him down in the chair and have our CEO ask him 5 questions, and then we'll do something with it? I'm like, yeah, okay. I need Alexa, turn on the lights, and then sit down. And that was all the way. I do, but just it's for me.
Yeah. Only after she does it. Perfunctory, just instead of a thank you, you just give her a light golf clap for.
Well done, Alexa.
Thank you. What are some of the challenges that you face? Not necessarily drawbacks of being in-house versus freelancer, but what are some of the biggest challenges that you face day in and day out? And maybe some of them are from the before times, but
more of them are from the new times. Yeah, more of them are from the idea that, like, when this shit happened, when this shit occurred.
You can say fuck and anything like that. Yeah.
When the shit hit the fan. Yeah. Everybody gets sent home. Now it's all video. Whether or not I'm involved. The only way we're meeting is through video. The only way you're seeing our faces through video. And so the last year, and only now is it kind of settled down, because again, you kind of like, how like you go back and like you forget trauma, like you put Vaseline over the lens and you're like, that wasn't that bad. Like, we got sent home for 2 weeks. That was the official statement. You're going home for 2 weeks. And we were like, okay.
That was a year
And then ago. 2 weeks later, it was like, 2 more weeks. And then it was like, maybe April. Well, maybe June. Like, So if I had known on March 15th, hey, you're going home for a year, it would have been actually so much better, because I would have been like, cool, let's all calm down, let's cool our jets, let's plan a strategy to be mobile and remote for the next year, and instead of being so reactive. I think like the shutdown happened and it was just reaction. It was just like, shit, we still have to do this. We still have to get this out. We still have to get this video out. Oh, this live event is canceled. So now what? Now we have to turn this live event into a virtual event. Cool. I have to record 58 sessions so that we can have those sessions and put those out on the day of our event. Everything, like literally the entire marketing plan came through my desk. And so that the pandemic, and I'm alive. This is amazing. I have a job, right? Like, so I'm complaining, but I'm also well aware of the fact that like this is a unique thing to complain about. Like a fucking power saw in my house. Can you hear that?
I can't, but I'm sure.
I can hear it. It's buzzing. So yeah, I mean, so a big challenge, honestly, sometimes is advocating for myself and saying like, hold on, I cannot do all of these things. Or I can, but you need to tell me what order they go in, and something's got like, there's only one me, and there's only 40 hours in a week, and let's even say there's 80 hours in a week. There's still only 80 hours in a week. So like, how? Tell you, pick your 5 favorite things, and I'll tell you that I can do those, and then the other 5 either have to go bye or get pushed a month, and sometimes longer. So yeah, I would say the long term. Relationships is a benefit, but then the long-term strategy sometimes is a really big hurdle, because it's like there's just so much, and at some point you're around for all of it, and it's like, if this video, I'm fortunate, everyone really supports us at TBI. If a video fails, and whatever failure means, if a video doesn't hit the way we hoped, it's like, okay, we'll try again next time. You know what I mean? Like, and I try to leave that. I try to not put too much emphasis in this video is going to be the savior, or this video is going to derail us. It's like, everything's an experiment. We always are throwing stuff against the wall. The funniest thing, and you don't see it so much anymore, but as an actor, I used to audition for viral videos. So it's like, Southwest Airlines, like, we're going to film a viral video. And I'm like, are you though? Are you? Because do you even know what that means? You're going to film a video and hope it goes viral, but I promise you it won't. As soon as I read the script and it's like, oh, you're talking about your new low fares to 62 cities across the country. Nobody's going to be like, yo, Joe,
gotta see this
new Southwest commercial.
It's almost like as soon as you see there's a script, you're like, oh, well, there's no way this goes viral.
And actually, I just used Southwest as a bad example, but in reality, they're actually one of the best examples I've seen of somebody trying to do it. Is like a couple years ago, it was like the trick shot guys. Have you seen those videos of the dudes and all they did was like, hey, come do a bunch of trick shots on like the tarmac. And so they like threw a basketball up into the jet stream of a Southwest Airlines 737, and it went into and it's like, there was no messaging, there was no fly. It was like, watch these guys for 2 minutes do trick shots around an airplane, and every time you see the airplane, you're going to see a Southwest Airlines. Yeah. And I was like, this is actually great, and because I want to share this, because of what's happening, and I don't. This has nothing to do with your brand messaging.
Yeah. Let me go back to you. You were just talking about how there's only 40 or 80 hours in a week. There's just you. Let's say we finish recording this episode, and you see an email from your boss that says, "Hey Jim, just got budget approval for a second member of the video team." How would you change? What would you have them do, and how would that change your day to day?
I would have them do my job, and then I would probably grow a mustache and start smoking a cigar.
Great.
And I would be like, get those videos to me, see? And that would be it. That would be my strategy.
You'd take the Alexa out of the studio. You wouldn't want to make it too easy for them.
If I had my druthers, I would. There's a lot of repeatable content that is not very exciting to me to create. Right? There's a lot of series that they come out fine, but they're functional. It's like, we need a video of like Dave. Dave is our head trainer. He's great. He every time we get a new company, we get like 60 new companies a year. He stands in front of his whiteboard and explains the benefits, and he's engaging, and it's helpful, and the people need to watch it, and people watch it because here's how you learn what this company provides. It's a great. I'm bored, right? Like, and I've been doing my best to like put fun graphics in it, and Dave and I have a good rapport, and like we like I like putting in jokes and stuff for him, but like. That's a project that needs to get done, and needs to get done regularly, and needs to get done. Like, we have a couple of these, like repeating series. Once a month we do the news, the channel news. So once a month we're filming a news show, and like once a week we're doing one of these whiteboard videos. So like, I think if I could, I would offboard that, some of that stuff that's lower stakes. It's proven, right? It's like this is the series that we're going to do no matter what. Right. We're doing these series. We're offering them as a service. We're offering them as support material. You focus on that, and then I want to focus on the videos that are the highlight reels, right? Here's the highlight reel of our latest event. Here's the reason why you should work with our company at all, because those take a lot of time, and I love them. But it's like, in 2020, I hit export something like 258 times. With like 268 working days in the year. I was like, oh, this is awful. Mm-hmm. But every time you hit export, it's not created equal. Sometimes I just trimmed the beginning and trimmed the end and hit go. Sometimes I worked for 3 weeks on this edit and I'm really proud of it. And there's a lot here. So I would love to focus on more of those high level things.
So you would get a second Jim to just do that stuff as opposed to like splitting up the trades, if you will, like someone who's really good at audio and lighting and have them run.
I've never, maybe this is because I'm a freelancer. Maybe this is my independent, like, I've never really collaborated with a person on an edit. That's not true. I was an assistant editor for a while at an ad agency. But even there were things I would help where it's like, oh, I need to go pull this footage and put it in a folder so the editor would have it. But I wasn't helping him edit. Do you know what I mean? Like, so I think it would be more about dividing entire projects amongst two people than dividing workload of all the projects amongst two people. Does that make sense?
That makes perfect sense to me, because I feel like that's where we were at the beginning. Now we have very specialized roles for everybody except for ourselves. But
even mine's specialized. Yours is not. Yours is everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all over the place, but that's just my own issue. I think when we first started, so like I remember our first freelancer that we brought in was primarily a MoGraph guy, but he also did editing, and so that was something that we could offload, and but still, when we started thinking about like hiring our first full-time employee or even part-time employee, for probably a year and a half, it was like, well, we just need another one of us. Like, we need another one of us who can do kind of the jack of all trades, master of none maybe, but like knows how to shoot, edit, audio, set up lighting, like can just dispatch to do those kinds of things. And then what we ended up doing was our first full-time hire was a project manager. And that kind of changed our perspective, because then we were able to offload a lot of that just kind of ongoing communication, administrative management kind of stuff, right?
Oh God, I would love to never talk to another person. I love my team, but I would love to like be like, "What's this? A meeting? No, thanks. Yeah, I'm playing with my toys."
Yeah. But I totally get that that instinct, and I think maybe up until a certain size of team, it's right just to have those generalists. Yeah.
Or maybe a certain size of project. I mean, maybe that's the point too, is like even my big projects that I really care about, that I'm gonna like sit and do color correction on and tweak and get the look right. Like, yeah. And we, like I said, we have our Emily, who's one of our graphic designers, like she can do motion graphics. Like, so I will just go to her and be like, hey, can you make this logo dance? Like, dealer's choice, just make it look better than I will. So maybe once you get to a certain size project where it's like, no, we should have a motion person and a colorist, and that way I can just focus on telling the story and then give it away make other people make it sound good and look good. But yeah, I feel like at this level, it's just more about just getting the content. There's a lot of content that's just fine, and especially now, it's just fine. It's like this is a Zoom call, so like I don't know. There's only so much color correction you can do. There's only so much like tweaking you can. Everything's on Zoom, so like you just edit it and go. So to try and offload some of that, I think would be how I would divide it. But I think it's also dependent on what your company is and what size projects you are dealing with.
Do you all ever work with outside agencies or other video agencies?
There's a few times where we've freelanced some jobs out, and that has to do with just me, where it's like I'm about to go on paternity leave, and it's like, yeah, I mean, so we're some of that stuff is going to be covered in-house. But if you need like an actual video project done in a hurry, you're going to have to go outside. Again, I think that was part of their investment, and I'm trying to be respectful of that too. Where there's times where it's like, what would be awesome is if I had like 3 more people to help shoot this. Yeah. But the reality is they invested in me, and they invested in the program. They spent a lot of money in both, and so they spent a lot of money on. Well, it's fine. We're doing good. They've made it a sizable investment in their video program.
They're committed, and you respect.
They're committed. They're pot committed, and I recently got promoted, and they're so
to head video to lead video guy
manager. I'm now the video production manager. I manage myself,
a team of one.
But it's fine. I'll take it. So thanks, man. But yeah, so yeah, it all depends on your size and your goals and all that. So
what do you say we jump into our sponsor?
Yeah, I think it's time to hear from A.R.S.E.
A.R.S.E, Association of Regrettable Silly Eponyms. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. But it's been a tough year for the tourism industry. I'm sure you guys,
Sure.
you didn't take your annual train ride.
No, but I did. But I did stay in a container for a week.
Yes,
it was furnished, which was nice. But no train ride.
It's about like an apartment or just a box?
It's an Airbnb made out of a shipping container. It was fun.
Of course, cities like New York and San Diego have been hit pretty hard, but few know the true woes of the world's funniest tourist traps. Yeah.
Want to try that again?
But few, I should have just not wrote these words because they're hard to say. But few know the... but
said the writer.
I love when, and this happens a lot, I love when like actor me swears at writer me, where it's like, you knew you were going to say these words out loud in a row, right?
So it's been a tough year for the tourism industry. Of course, cities like like New York, San Diego, they've been hit hard. But few know the true woes of the world's funniest tourist traps. Many of these cities that I'm about to mention have literally nothing going on. The only way these small townships can maintain a cafe or two or a gas station or whatever is because people go way out of their way just to take a picture with the sign. And they have nowhere else to get a coffee or biscuits. So that like these little towns are really hurting. These towns are all, of course, the eponyms. You asked what that was before. I'm not even sure if I'm saying that right. These towns are all named after people. And so the descendants of these city founders have pooled their money together to maintain their family pride and boost their post-COVID tourism. So they've asked that I just simply mention their names here. It's just a list.
On behalf of the association.
On behalf of the association,
list their members. I gotcha.
Bump-Ass, Virginia.
Been there.
Bacon, Indiana. Gobbler's Knob, Pennsylvania.
Yep.
PP Township, Ohio. Hooker, Oklahoma. PEE, PEE.
TOWNSHIP. Yeah.
Hooker, Oklahoma. Booty, Illinois. Santa Claus, Indiana. Hippo, Kentucky. Frankenstein, Missouri. Slaughterville, Oklahoma. Boring, Oregon. Looneyville, Texas. And Booger Hole, West Virginia. So that's it. They just simply wanted to remind people that they're there. They're still not thriving as they were before COVID, but it's worse. And so, it's probably actually a good place to go during COVID, if you ask me. Some of those small towns, because there's nobody there.
Yeah.
It's a small town to begin with, and you might as well support local townships. But the problem is, you need to be mindful. You can't just go take a picture with a sign, because that doesn't
support
nobody makes a dollar.
Yeah. Well, but that's why anybody goes to Schitt's Creek, right? Is to take a picture with the sign coming into town. Yeah, right.
But you should buy a muffin and then go take a picture.
That's right.
And then throw away the muffin and go somewhere else. You have to eat the muffin.
The awful muffin from PP Township.
Pay the
it's a little bitter. Let's.
What do we got left here?
I think it depends on how your marketing department works, but how much of the content that you make, how much of the video that you're making is distributed by the marketing team versus content that you're making for the sales team to use versus, do you even have a customer success department?
We're trying to get, that's an initiative, to try and get the sales team to, engage with some of the videos we're making on that behalf.
How long have you been trying this experiment?
Again, it's a lot of the stuff got derailed. We're walking into 2020 with here's our goals, and then nope, just kidding. But recently, and Vidyard is actually has a really slick tool for this, as far as just being able to quickly record a webcam video and email it, and in the email is the thumbnail of the video. Just trying to get them on board with some of that, and our sales managers have recently started using it. So that's cool, and I'm sure Tyler would like to hear that. But most of what I'm making is for us to release on our schedule. But we're working on stuff that the sales team can do, and then 2, stuff that we can just always have that we can put logos on, where it's this is this solution. This is the internet solution for if you're out in the field or whatever. If you need this, and then we'll put your logo at the end. One white label video that we can give to our partners, where it's you work with TBI, you've sent us this much business per year. We're going to give you this asset as a gift, but also to help you complete the circle of life, where it's now you'll have more reasons to sell more, and you know what I mean. So, that's all on our to-do list.
Do you interface at all with the customer success team? Are you helping them retain clients in any way, or communicate
Does it even work that way?
FAQs, stuff like that?
It's not. No, I mean so short answer, no. It's weird. The majority of what our company provides, our company also provides the support and back office for a lot of these smaller. So a lot of these smaller IT companies are one person, and it's I don't have a call center. I'm just Dan, and so by partnering with TBI, we have a room of 200 people whose job is to cold call and sell our solutions, but then also they will be a support team for Dan. So when you call Dan, we'll answer the phone and be Dan's shit. It's not how any of this goes, but you know what I'm saying. And so our the TBI business model, we're not tracking that as far as video goes, and I'm not really on that in that funnel yet, or in that cycle yet. Again, we're trying to do more. This year, we're trying to do more targeted video. I want video this year to be less, but to do more. Every video I make needs to either drive people to a specific call to action, like download this thing or sign up for this thing, or it needs to communicate our brand message for the year, which is human, just being human and letting yourself off the hook a little bit, and we're all in this together, and this is how we're helping humans be human, or be a thing that somebody paid for. That's it. And if it doesn't fit one of those 3 goals, if it's not actively driving audience members to a thing, or it is sponsored content from one of our vendors, or it is something that I just want to do in order to push this brand message, I don't want to do it. And it's I feel supported in that, and we've kind of come to an agreement on that, especially based off of how last year went, where it's Jim's gonna die and soon if we keep doing that level of work. And more importantly, it's not even about me. Let's say that I become a robot. Like you are, there's so much work that like you do and you spend time and you put it out and then it just flitters away. It just goes nowhere. We never see it again. We never share it again. It doesn't do anything. And it's like, who was this for? Who is this? Was this just so that I had something to do on a Tuesday? Because like, that's what it feels like. And I'm fine doing my own stuff on a Tuesday. I've got a bunch of saws going on downstairs. Like I got shit to do. So you don't need to worry about keeping me busy. So yeah, I think that's been our big push this year is making sure that like when we say we're doing a video, the very first question should be why? And there should be a definitive answer. And that's not something we had in 2020, and it all got away from all of us. And that's something we really want in 2021. And if the answer is, well, it would be nice, like
because I said so.
That's probably a good place to.
Yeah, because Deborah said so. I think it's a fantastic place to stop. I think that's even a little promo piece right there for the episode. Jim Kozyra, I would like to thank you so much for joining us today. This has been a great conversation. And I feel like we could do, another hour probably if we wanted to dig into other things.
We'd all have to have a sandwich and go pee first, but then we could have an hour.
That's usually how this goes. Is this stops, we keep rolling, but pee break and then.